Hey, it's Mark, and welcome back to Mark's Millionaire Challenge. And today is Monday. I want to share with you what kind of happened to me over the course of the last 3 days in my search for the elusive appointment setter. So, I had found one and had interviewed her. Based on her experience, she tells me that she's worked for a large residential alarm company. And so, based on that and her ability to set appointments, I hired her. And so we agreed that we would start on Thursday of last week. So here's what happens. We start training Thursday morning with the agreement that she was going to really focus on, the script and making sure that it was going to work for her. So we set out to do that. Thursday afternoon was the day in which she was supposed to actually do it, start making appointments. And so Thursday afternoon rolls around, and she starts making calls at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And she calls me at 4 o'clock, which is the end of the day, and says she has 0 appointments. And so I said, okay, today's going to be a freebie. Tomorrow you really need to produce because, as I said before, it is ultra important that you're able to get appointments. And so we need to really shoot for that target of having 3 appointments before the day's over with. She said, okay. So Friday rolls around, and she had already agreed that she'd get on the phone first thing Friday morning. Well, I get a text from her that father-in-law's in the hospital. She can't work. She's going to have to wait until the afternoon. So given those circumstances, I agreed to wait until the afternoon. And so when the afternoon rolled around, she calls me and tells me that she's getting on the phones and she's going to start scheduling appointments. And I said, great. Do you have any questions, any issues? And she said, no. So she started making dials, and by the end of the day, zilch, no appointments. So I remind her, okay, that this is her warning and that she must get 3 appointments the next day or we're done. And she said, okay, I completely understand. So here we are now, Monday morning, and I call her first thing, and I remind her of the importance of getting the 3 appointments or we must part ways. And she said, okay. So she starts dialing, and to really drive the point home, I get on the phones as well. Now, I used the exact same list that I had given her, and I started calling businesses, but and so she was starting at the top of the list. I started at the bottom, working my way up, in hopes that we'd meet someplace in the middle. So out of our list of 100, I started with lead number 100 and was going to work my way up the list. So I began making phone calls. I made 1 phone call and no answer. I made my 2nd phone call, and I booked an appointment with a company that does $1 million in sales selling frames, portrait frames. So then, after that, I got on the phone and dialed 2 more businesses and did not get the owner. I dialed another business, and I got the owner of a pizza restaurant who actually owns 2 different restaurants in Kansas City. I have an appointment with him tomorrow in the afternoon. And so then I got on the phone. My 3rd call, which happened to be to one of the most popular restaurants or barbecue restaurants here in Kansas City, and landed an appointment with him. And I made 5 more phone calls after that, of which either the owner was busy or he requested that I call him back on Monday to schedule the interview, or I just flat out did not get an answer. So less than 15 calls, I got 3 appointments out of it. So at that point, I waited. And when noon rolled around, I called her to see how she was doing, and again, 0 appointments. And she said, Mark, I just don't understand. It must be the script, because when I worked for this major alarm company, calling, doing B2B calls and residential, it worked. And I said, well, I'm not sure what you're doing on your end, but I used that very same script this morning. I made less than 15 calls, and I booked myself 3 appointments. So I don't know what it is. It's my belief that I really don't think that she was really dialing. So anyway, we parted ways, and I've got those 3 interviews for later on in the week, 2 of which are supposed to take place tomorrow. And so I'm going to work on that, as well as, I'm going to put out, honestly, an ad every single day for an appointment setter. And if I have 2 or 3 working, that's fine, because the income is there from this business now in order to make that happen, okay, and to have those folks more than pay for themselves. And so, that really truly is kind of the moral of the story, is if you're going to look for an appointment setter, don't put your eggs in one basket. Get yourself a couple, but make sure, that you have some system in place that allows them to access the same schedule so that they can book appointments too. And I'm currently researching something that I think is going to work for me that will allow that to happen. So once I figure out what that's going to be, I'll let you know, and you can dive into it as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with the appointment setter. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you about a little more, and by the way, John Durham, thank you very, very much, my friend, for your input. John mentioned, the very first appointment setter that I had was someone who they refer to in the telemarketing world as a wood chipper. If you want to know what he's talking about, just go to my blog. Check out, I believe it's video number 15 or number 16, where he posted, to my blog, and just check out what he meant by that. Because let me tell you, John knows his shit, and so if there's anything that you want to know about telemarketing and about cold calling, then I urge you to go check him out at the telemarketing forum, and also look for John's link. It's somewhere in this thread. I believe I posted in the Warrior Forum thread. Look for the link. John has a course that he gives away, and I swear to you, John ought to be charging $1,000 for the information he's given away in this free course. You have got to go get it. Just go subscribe to his website. And I wish I had the information in front of me right now, but I don't. But it's in the Warrior Forum link where you've seen me post about what I'm doing here. But look for that. And John, if you watch this video, which I'm sure you will, please post that link for us so that people can get access to your materials, join your forum. So, because trust me, guys and girls, it will completely change how you look at cold calling. It just absolutely will. And, I'm a hardened guy when it comes to that kind of stuff. And if I've already formed an opinion about something, I'm human. It's kind of hard to sway me in another direction. John totally changed how I thought of what I thought of making cold calls. And it's a result of what John has taught me from that free stuff, okay, and this technique that has gotten me up to $7,000 a month in just reoccurring alone. And so I urge you to go check that out. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, this will be really, really short. It looks like I've only got about 4 minutes left on this 12-minute video. And that is the importance, of making sure that you explain stuff in layman's terms. And again, I know I talked about this, and I've gotten some messages from people, the Warrior Forum. They sent, private messages, and they wanted me to elaborate on a little more. And I'm going to do that. And that is, I don't care who you're talking to when you sit down with a business owner. You must assume that they are, dumb when it comes to internet marketing and when it comes to, any of that information. You must assume that they don't have a clue as to what you're talking about. That means that you need to not be techie with them, okay? If you are one of those techie guys, I'm not, okay? But if you are one of those techie guys, you need to take the propeller hat off, okay, and just be a human being with them. And I say that because you will get more customers if you do that. I'll give you an example. One of my clients is completely illiterate, stupid, dumb when it comes to computers, when it comes to the internet, when it comes to marketing online. And he was upfront and he told me that. However, the reason why he hired me was because I was able to explain things to him in a way that made sense. And so you need to do the exact same thing. Try and explain things to people that will make complete sense to them. And so, when you're talking to them, first of all, make sure that what you're conveying to them is benefit-driven. Explain to them how they're going to get more traffic to their website, okay? You don't have to go on all the technical terms about search engine optimization or just saying SEO. first of all, you're not impressing anybody by doing that. The only person you're impressing is yourself. That's it, okay? But at this point, impressing yourself doesn't matter because you're not going to write yourself a check, okay? The check is coming from the client. And if the client is confused by what you're telling them, then the client is going to say no. So when you're explaining things to them, when you're talking to them, when you're telling them how you're going to benefit them, just break it down in the simplest way that you can so that they understand it. When they understand it, they feel comfortable. When they feel comfortable, then they begin to like you. When they like you, they start trusting you. When they trust you, then they will buy from you. Okay? They will write you a check. And so this entire thing, this whole premise of talking to business owners and finding out about their business and interviewing them is a whole premise of building rapport with them. So I urge you to do that, okay? And if you're still on the fence about calling business owners, go check out John Durham's his free stuff. It is, in one word, remarkable. And I'm telling you, if you have any fear about making cold calls to business owners, you know, John's going to take that fear away from you by showing you just how simple it can be. So check that out. Make sure you're talking to business owners in a manner in which they understand. And, you know, good luck, you know, in scheduling appointments. And I will talk to you tomorrow about what happens with these new deals. So take care, and I'll see you later. Bye.